In this review video, we're going to go over the two topics: comparing fractions. That's when you use a less than, a greater than, or an equal sign. And we're going to also review how to add and subtract fractions. Our first example, super easy. They have the same denominator, so we just need to look at the numerators. Which numerator is bigger? 4. 4 is bigger than 3, so 4/5 is bigger than 3/5. Let's look at this example. The denominators are not the same. Like up here, this was easy. The denominators are the same. But I've got a half, so I could logically think, well, half of 15 is 7.5. So 7 is just a little bit smaller than a half. So if it's smaller than a half, it's going that direction. Okay, not the same denominator, not something like this where it's a half, but I could logically think this one through. 2 out of 7 is a really small amount, but 13 out of 14, these two are super close together. So 13 out of 14 is almost a whole. So I know that that's bigger. Okay, let's look at this. Denominators are different. But look, 6/5 is improper. 7/9 is a normal fraction. This would be 1 1/5. So anything improper is going to be larger than anything just a normal fraction. But this one is much closer. We can't logically think it through as easily. So we need to get common denominators. We need to make it look like that first one. 23 and 5, there's nothing easy about this, so I'm just going to multiply them together. So I ended up with 115, so my denominator is 115. How did I get that? I multiplied this by 23, so I do the same to the top. Over here I multiplied this by 5, so I do the same to the top. And now I have 35 over 115 and 23 over 115, and I can see that 35 is bigger. So when in doubt, get common denominators, use those denominators to get numerators so that these are equivalent fractions. We practiced that a couple weeks ago. And then you can just use the top numbers. All right, let's practice adding and subtracting. When they're not the same denominator, 7 and 11, we need to make them the same denominator. So what is something that 7 and 11 can both make? 77. So I'm going to write 77 on the bottom of both of these. Why did I write 75? How did I get 77? I multiplied by 11. How did I get 77? I multiplied by 7. And so now I really have the problem 22 over 77 plus 70 over 77. The 77 doesn't change. We add the numerators and I would get 97 over 77. Now on this homework, if I were wanting to compare it, I might not need to change it. I could just leave it the way it is. But let's say I do want to change it. How many times does 77 go into 97? Once. How many are left over? 20. So that's 1 and 20 77ths. If you're typing it into Google Classroom, you're going to use either say 1 and 20 / 77, or you can do 1 _ 20 / 77. All right, let's work out question 1 from your worksheet. So this is exactly what you're doing and what you're going to put into Google Classroom. So we're going to get one of them done together so you'll know exactly what to type in. So we need a greater than, an equal sign, or a less than in here. But first we need to know how much is the left side, like what is the answer to this question, and what is the answer to the right side. So none of them have common denominators, so I've got to change 2 11ths and 1/33 into common denominators. They both can make 33. How do I make 33? By multiplying by 3. So I get a 6. 6 over 33 plus 1 over 33 is 7 over 33. Ask yourself, can it be simplified? The answer is no, it cannot be simplified. Right? Then we have 2/15 and 1/30. What can they both make? Well, they can both make 30. How did I get 30? I multiplied by 2, so I multiply by 2, and I get 4. 4/30 plus 1/30 is equal to 5/30. But I should simplify. 5/30, both of those numbers can be divided by 5, and I get 1/6. So now I know that I'm going to have 7/33 on the left side, 1/6 on the right side. Now, these are not super easy to decide. It's not one of the mental math ones where we can reason it out. I think we're going to need to take these two and get common denominators. So, 33 and 6. I'm just going to go ahead and multiply 33 and 6 to get a common denominator. That's 18, carry the 1. 18 plus 1 is 19. So the denominator is 198. Now I got to figure out my numerators. So how did I get there? What did I do? Well, I multiplied this guy by 6. So I get 42 over 198. And I multiplied this guy by 33. So I get 33 over 198. So who is larger? 42 over 198 or 33 over 198? 42 is larger, so the alligator mouth goes that direction. So on your Google Classroom, they're going to ask you what is the answer to the left side, and you're going to type in 7 over 33. The next question will say, what is the answer to the right side? You're going to type in 1 over 6. Then it'll say, what goes in the box? You're going to choose the greater than symbol. Okay? Some of the questions on the worksheet are much easier than this, but this one was definitely a tricky one. There were a lot of steps involved, and so I thought it would be good to work it out. All right, good luck with this week's work. Have a great summer.